All right, so just the other day, I posted a video on Costco doubling down on their DEI efforts, deciding to go against the grain when it comes to the removal of DEI. And not surprisingly, Trump supporters have now threatened to boycott Costco over DEI initiatives. So thought I'd share this. Right, we got a group of people giving extra support to Costco. You can watch the other video that talks about that, and then now we got the group of people saying they are going to boycott simply because Costco decides to remain inclusive. Interesting, but definitely wanted to share. So y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. Your store, Costco's decision to stick with diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives has been followed up with the threats of a boycott. Shareholders have been putting pressure on the board of directors to drop the program, DEI, claiming the initiatives are a financial risk and discriminatory. However, the company's board of directors argue DEI is good for business, including diversity. Now, as a result, some supporters of President-elect Donald Trump have been threatening to boycott the store on social media. Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored tonight, CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith, and attorney Kevin Fulton, who is a conservative. Glad to have you all here on The Factor Uncensored. So, Todd, your thoughts about Costco saying we're going to stick with DEI despite the threats of boycott and the kicking off President Donald Trump?
I think it's good for business. Honestly, you're going to lose some people, but you're going to gain a lot of customers who want to support a company that supports DEI. I know a lot of people who are for DEI who are boycotting.
And really quick, let's just explain what DEI is.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, when you use a person's diverse status, their race or something to have an impact on their hiring and stuff like that. But a lot of people look at it as a handout. As a business owner, I want diverse voices in the workforce. I've worked for companies, and me being a younger African-American at the time, I think I brought something to the table that they were overlooking and added to their bottom line. I won't get into details, but even as a business owner, as an older guy now, I want younger workers to tell me, okay, who should I be interviewing? Who's hot? Who's not? So it's not just about giving a person an opportunity. I might not look like the best candidate on my resume, but when you look at where I come from, what my tastes are, I can add value to your company that you might not even know you were missing. So when people bring in diverse employees, they could also bring in more customers because those employees could help them reach those customers. So it's not just a handout, it's just good for business also.
All right, Kevin, your thoughts about this?
Well, everything is being grouped into DEI, so I'm going to separate it out. I think it's a good concept when you talk about expanding your applicant pool. If you want to put in play where you're reaching out to more applicants so you have a wider base to pick from, I agree with that. What's problem is when it switches over into quotas, where you start giving points to different groups. Because at the end of the day, the people who you think you're helping, you're actually maybe hurting. I've looked at companies giving points, and a heterosexual black male would not get a job when they were going against a white gay female because she checked more boxes. And so when you get to that point where you're quotas and you're checking boxes, I think then DEI is a problem. It does not make the company stronger, it makes it weaker. And for Costco, the only thing the shareholders asked is for them to do a study to determine whether or not DEI is effective, the same way other major companies have done. Costco refuses to do a study to show whether or not it's effective for business, and I think they won't do it because they know it's not effective.
And when we have seen many companies, and we have
I think they won't do it because it's unnecessary. I just want people who, again, I have to say this in every DEI video. I am not a supporter of DEI, not for the same reasons that everyone seems to not be a support of. again, I'll make it quick. The reason I do not generally support it is because I feel like companies are doing it just as a cover. There's nothing real going behind all of these quote unquote DEI measures, and you could actually see that in a lot of these companies if you pull um, their actual numbers, right? You'll see that the numbers are still far low when it comes to other demographics within their company, right? So to me, it's just it has always felt like a cover up. I do believe that many, especially African American folks, could have benefited through the hype around DEI by actually applying to some of these major companies and actually getting in where you probably will not be able to get in now. So I do support it for that. But again, uh, being pulled in, given an opportunity to come into a company or organization or any space just because you feel that you are mandated to by some government measure, uh, I that would never make me feel comfortable because just like what's happening now. As soon as that program is removed, then so is your security, right? So that's my whole issue with DI. But let's go back to his comment. His comment is that they do not want to basically run the numbers for themselves, do a study for themselves on DEI because it is going because it quote unquote doesn't work. And what if I'm in Costco's defense? What is the point of me doing this study, right? If our numbers overall are up, regardless, we don't need to pull any sort of, oh well, what happened, with this program, like how's this program working out? If overall my numbers are up or they are sustaining in terms of employee morale, customer relationships, business coming into the door, if things are in the green overall, then what does it matter? Things are in the green and we're able to support these other underrepresented demographics. What does it matter? That's my whole point. That's my whole thought when they're saying like, oh, it's like this stigma of like, having these measures brings down the overall competency of a company. That to me just tells me that there's only a specific demographic that is competent enough to do a job. Because if the qualifications are met, it does not matter what that person looks like if the qualifications are met at the end of the day, which means if there is a legitimate DEI program and we won't even use black folks. We'll just say a person with a disability is hired because they meet that qualification, and they're a person with a disability. They meet the qualification. They have proven that they are able to do the job. The DEI initiatives should not have been used as a way just to get people in the door who are unqualified. I think that's a real big misconception, or I don't even think it's a misconception. It's just being thrown out by people in the White House and individuals like this as being a initiative that brings unqualified people in. That's not the case. So bottom line, if you're qualified, it does not matter. The program works as long as it's bringing people who are qualified in, as long as it's being used with intention and is bringing qualified folks in. So to me, his argument there just it it does not make sense. And again, in Costco's defense, if we are focused on bringing in qualified people and on the side of that, being sure that we're bringing in people who are underrepresented but are still qualified, then there's no need to do a survey. And business is up. There's no need to do a survey. That's just my thought.
We have seen it in the past. Many companies tone deaf, and they put out what could be considered offensive or racist ads, and then they have no people of color in that room. So how do you explain that when you have, because people hire who they're comfortable with. You know, even if you're, say you're a white CEO, and if you hire someone that looks like you, you feel comfortable with that, but you have no voice in the room to say, look, that is tone deaf. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't put that marketing or that ad out.
I agree. And that's why I think that you should have a diverse applicant pool that you're interviewing. But when you just have people in there just because they're racist, doesn't mean it's going to be effective. And the big thing for me is, if you're not a racist company, why do you need the policy? Because what you're telling me is, it's sort of like that thing, are you racist? No, I got one black friend. To me, that's the way the company is saying, we're not racist. Look, we have DEI. Well, if you're not racist, then you should have an equal footing for everybody that's coming in, and you should be hiring blacks, Hispanics, people that are already showing you that they're capable of doing the job. You should already be doing that if it's an even playing field. But what you're telling me is, I must not have an even playing field, but I'm not racist because, look, I'm putting aside 10% of the jobs for black people.
And really quick,
I 100% agree with that second part of the statement that he just said. 100%. That's exactly what I was saying. Right. That's my exact problem with DEI, is that it is used largely from what I've seen, what I see, and how I perceive it, it is used to put up that front as if, this company actually cares when they don't. So I agree with that 100%. 100%.
30 seconds, one black friend theory, your thoughts on what he says.
I think what he's saying is true in theory, but I think it's hard to qualify, whether somebody is right for a job. And I know you don't want to do quotas. We don't need to do that. But when you don't have, I think if a person is an LGBTQ person, they can bring in ideas that allow me to attract more of those consumers. So it's hard to quantify who's the best person for the job. And when you have DEI, it just makes it a little easier to reach all people.
All right. We'll definitely see this more in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of them. I agree with both of them. The only thing I disagree was with the gentleman with the in the gray there, where he believes that Costco doesn't want to do the survey just simply because they know it's bad, and I disagree with that. I think that Costco's numbers are up. I think that they are trending in the right direction, and they have no reason to remove their policy. But again, I also agree with him on other companies, and I said it in the video I did the other day. I don't think Costco. I think the biggest reason Costco is not removing the DEI policy is because I believe that they were always inclusive. My entire life, I've always seen different representations inside of a Costco anytime I walked in. So I feel like for them, the DEI program was an easy, switch, because they probably didn't have to do much. They probably didn't have to do anything but create a web page, talk about, implement a policy that they were already, doing for the most part. And then now it's like, we don't need to remove it because it was never implemented. It did not change their scope of work when they implemented it. So that, you know, for them, it's, you know, it was easy, but again, for a lot of these jobs, I do feel like it is, and I do agree with the man in the gray, that it is used and was used to put on a front, you know. And so as soon as these organizations, not just companies, you got, you know, college organizations and you know, other entities, as soon as they could, they removed the policy. And to me, I love to see it, because now I know which companies know that they're hiring like he said, know which companies now I know are in a sense admitting, when they remove it, that their hiring practices have always been and will continue to move forward and be uh, discriminatory. You know, and then what the uh, guy in the blue is, you know, pointing at, which I get, you know, it is harder to quantify uh, uh, your DE or your inclusive measures without a program. But I don't think it is that hard. I think it goes. I mean, because companies have been, even before all of this, you know, DEI stuff. Companies have kept track of their demographics for a very long time. So I don't think it's. I mean, it's just as simple as keeping track of your demographics and being sure that you're not one sided. I don't think any program is necessary for that. And I think if a company truly wants to support other demographics, be inclusive and bring the different experiences and different mindsets into into their space to be able to grow faster and better and reach other customers, then they would just do it automatically, 100%. But this is good. I liked it. I enjoyed this conversation because it actually did not go where I thought it was going to go. When, you know, I thought the gentleman was going to say a whole bunch of nonsense, but again, I like that. I agree with them both. I agree with them both. But y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, it's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.